Liam, thanks so much for joining us here today on InFocus.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Now, first of all, I got to ask about the Olympic experience. What was that like, and what was it like just competing on the biggest stage in the world?
Well, I had like very short notice, so it was quite shocking, and being over there and doing the full experience was quite amazing. And I mean, no crowds. COVID restrictions and lots of testing. It was quite difficult, but it was amazing.
We had just talked right before we got on air here. You said you've only been doing some of these bigger events for a couple of years now, so you're used to this, I guess, COVID normalcy, I guess, and so I guess you're kind of used to there not being any crowds and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, so like it was just like another event, but like the Olympics. So, I mean, no crowds. There was a lot of media and stuff, so that was cool. But yeah, it was just quiet, pretty quiet.
So I guess, how did you get involved in snowboarding? Was there someone who sort of nudged you in that direction, or did you sort of just find it on your own?
So yeah, well, when I was a kid, thankful for my mom. She always had me in like gymnastics, soccer, skiing, all that. And when I was skiing, I saw my dad snowboarding. He was like the only one snowboarding. I was like, I want to snowboard. So I think my dad kind of influenced me. So yeah.
Now, how dangerous is it? Now, I'm a skier myself. I've never snowboarded. I've always thought about snowboarding, but I've seen some people have some pretty nasty wipeouts and that sort of thing. So how dangerous is it? And can you sort of describe how you train for something like that? I mean, it just looks really difficult as, you know, as a skier or to an average person, really.
Yeah, there are lots of dangers and things that could go wrong, but everything as an athlete is calculated. I mean, accidents happen and like you can't control it, but smart decisions are made. You're only going to try stuff if you're confident and things like that. So, but yeah, it is an extreme sport, so things can't go bad.
Now, have you ever been injured? What's kind of your injury history like?
So I've only had shoulder problems. Honestly, I've had, I broke this collarbone 3 times, and I've torn a rotator cuff, and that's honestly a pretty good injury list.
That's like a pretty good injury list for a snowboarder.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And the past 2 years, I've been good. Knock on wood, but yeah, I've been pretty good.
Now, all right, so we got to talk a little bit about being actually at the Olympics, and what did it mean to you to be one of only a handful of Indigenous Olympians for all of Team Canada?
I was honored. It was very special to me to represent for you know, the Liquid community, and yeah.
Was there? I mean, to you, you know, I'm sure you've gotten lots of messages from kids and parents and that sort of thing. Just since you've been at the Olympics, kind of what's that experience been like for you?
Yeah, it's been crazy. A lot has changed in the past couple of months. So. Yeah, I'm excited to see what comes next.
And how important is your First Nations culture to you? I know you were born and raised in Calgary, but you are a member of Lilliquay First Nation in the Northwest Territories. So how important is that to you?
Very important. And just a couple of weeks ago, I actually was fortunate enough to go up there and like meet the chief and see how things go about and see my grandmother up there and things like that. So that meant a lot to go up there and experience it, because I think I went up there when I was like 4, so that was like my first time like really being there. So yeah, that was very special.
Now, do you think living in and around Calgary has helped you as a snowboarder? I mean, the mountains are right there, right? Do you think you know, it's helped you become the snowboarder you are today?
For sure, yeah. There's a COP here in Calgary, the Canadian Olympic Park, and they have a half pipe, and it's like 12 minutes from my house. I've been riding there since I was 4, so yeah, for sure.
So when did you sort of start to think, hey, like I could, you know, be on the national team for snowboarding? Like when did it sort of become, go from becoming, you know, a hobby and something you do for fun to something that you're like, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I could, you know, go somewhere with this?
Honestly, That's a good question. I'd say about 2 years ago. So, there's two disciplines. There's slopestyle and then there's halfpipe. So I loved slopestyle. I wanted to do slopestyle, but because the halfpipe is pretty hard to get into because they're usually private or somebody's booked it or whatever. So when I was younger, it was hard for me to get in the halfpipe. And I'd only get in there when I'd compete and stuff. So just 2 years ago, I signed up to be on the junior national team for both. I just said I will apply for both. And then I made both junior national teams. And I was actually able to spend some time training in the halfpipe like I haven't before. And I remember my first camp. It was my first training camp in the halfpipe. And I was like, whoa, like I could take something with this. So yeah, it's only been like a year and a half since I've been in the halfpipe. So yeah.
So you've only done the halfpipe for a year and a half, and you've already been at the Olympics for that.
My second season, yes.
That's going to be a little overwhelming, no? To be, not even doing something for very long, and then you're on the world's biggest stage doing exactly that.
Yeah, it's been the past couple of years has been a huge switch for me, and yeah, very exciting.
So, can you sort of walk us through, I guess, the differences between? You said you started out doing slopestyle, and then you switched to halfpipe. So, what are some of the, I guess, I don't know if we want to get super technical, but some of the differences between the two? Because it's snowboarding, but I'm sure there's, a lot of different techniques you got to be able to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, like slopestyle, it's just like jumps and rails, and I find halfpipe, it's like science and like physics or whatever, because it's a vertical wall at 22 feet, and you have to come off that wall and land perfectly back in the wall. So, and you got to go like 15 feet and do flips and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I remember watching the halfpipe and just looking down, and I had no idea it was that steep. It looked like it was like some sort of ramp that you were ready to just jump off of, or so. Like, it was so steep. What's it like being up there as a snowboarder?
That's great. I mean, yeah, it's literally like a vertical wall, so at 22 feet, and then you're going out of it. So yeah, it's terrifying. When I first started, I was super scared, but you begin to get comfortable with it.
Now, have you ever experienced, getting back to being Indigenous and that sort of thing, have you ever experienced any kind of racism or something like that where, being maybe the only Indigenous kid in some of your classes or anything like that in terms of snowboarding?
No, not snowboarding. The community in snowboarding is amazing. Definitely not.
Okay, well, really good to hear.
Yes.
And do you have any advice for kids or parents looking to get into snowboarding? I know everybody kind of sees it on TV and it's becoming more and more popular, but would you have any advice for people who have no idea, how to get started?
I mean, you can always just go try, get some rentals. You could go on eBay, go to Toboggan Hill with the snowboard you bought, just try it out. I mean, like, just try. Yeah, just try it out. It might not be for you. It might be for you. Yeah. Would
you have any advice for somebody who might not know something about snowboarding that might be kind of a big difference? Like, I don't know how to, I guess, specifically ask that question, but is there something that when you started, you're like, oh, I actually didn't know, you had to do this or you had to do it this way or something like that?
I didn't know it was going to be so hard. Snowboarding is very hard. You have to try. You have to push through it. So, yeah. I go through this every day on my snowboard, constantly trying to get better. It's very difficult. So, yeah.
So, how do you train? I guess in the summer times, is there like an indoor facility, or are you working on, I guess, like kind of working out and building your strength up and that kind of thing? How do you sort of work out in the winter as opposed to the summer?
Yeah, so there are like a spring camp and then a summer camp where we actually go on snow. But off snow training is just, in the gym, stay healthy, be prepared for, when the season comes around. So, yeah.
So how often are you actually on snow with a snowboard, would you say? Is it like 8 months of the year, 9?
So I end in May, June, August. So 3 months of the year I'm off my snowboard, I think.
Oh, so you're on your snowboard for 9 months out of the year, hey?
9 to 8, yeah. And sometimes it's super busy and sometimes it's pretty slow. So yeah, maybe 8 or 7. But yeah, it's busy.
Okay, so that's quite a long time, I guess. But I mean, I guess it's something you really have to work on year round, isn't it, to try and get to the Olympics and get to those bigger stages?
Yeah, if you want to stay in the loop, yeah, for sure.
And how many? I guess I don't know, not a tournament, but how many competitions do you go to in a normal year? Is it? I know there's like World Cups and that sort of thing. What's what are you going to?
I think there's like around definitely 3 World Cups a year that we know of, and then there's like some private events that I'd like to get into, and then there's like national events. So probably say like five competitions a year. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. You train all year round for like 30 seconds.
I guess it can be 30 seconds. Hey, I mean, it's so quick, but I mean, yeah, like you said, you got to put in those hours and make sure that everything is so fine tuned.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this is kind of a more philosophical question for you, but why is sport so important to Indigenous people's lives? Why do you think sport is so important?
I think it's so important because it's a way to express. When I was a kid, I troubled with school, with language, and I always had troubles. I didn't know why school was so hard. And whenever I was on my snowboard, I didn't think about school. So that was my way of escaping all the negative. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of kids feel the same way as well. Now, looking to the future, do you have a specific goal in mind? Is it the 2026 Olympics? Is that kind of what your sights are set on in the near future?
So the 2026 was like my goal. I wanted to make the 2026 Olympics, and then I so happened to make this one. So like 4 years ahead schedule, I guess. But yeah, still lots of work to do.
So what are you going to do to prepare for that? I mean, we just talked about all the training you have to do and the World Cups and that sort of thing. So are you going to be going to as many international events as you can, or kind of what's your plan to get there?
For sure. Not miss out on any training events or World Cups, and just try and really climb the ladder year after year. So.
Well, Liam, I want to thank you again so much for taking a few minutes here and speaking with us and sharing a little insight on snowboarding and the Olympics and all of that stuff. So we really appreciate you being here, and best of luck in the future, and we hope to see you at the next Olympic Games.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.